To you guys. Manhunt 2, obviously the sequel to Rockstar's Manhunt, which appeared on PS2, has been getting a lot of press. The question is has it been getting a lot of press for the right reasons? Well, let's go ahead and let's check out a video of Manhunt 2 before we dive into our scores. This is Manhunt 2 for the PSP.
My name is Daniel Lamb, and I live in hell.
What seest thou else? Dark, backward, and abysmal time!
They made you sick. Remember, Danny?
Jesus, Danny, you're scaring me! Danny!
Tonight, we're all getting out.
Manhunt 2. It came out for PS2, the Nintendo Wii, and PSP. I got my hands on the PSP version, and our man Forrest got his hands on the Wii version. Now, my scores are going to come from the PSP version. Force is going to give an overall score for the Wii version, and he'll also interject his feelings about what he felt about some of the scores. But I'm going to start right out. First off, guys, I did play the original Manhunt, but I did not play it all the way through. While I thought it was fairly inventive, you guys know how I feel about stealth games. I fucking hate them. So Manhunt really wasn't my type of game. With that being said, though, I was like, hey, this game's been getting a lot of press. Why? Because originally it was given an ESRB rating of AO, and then it was axed down to mature, an M rating, and we're going to find out what that actually affected in the game. And it affected our first score graphics very, very severely. Because what they did is they didn't exactly edit everything out. What they actually did is they provided filters and weird screen garbling to sort of self-censor itself. But the graphics at its core are absolute shit. And it almost seems like Rockstar was developing this game 10 years ago and just now decided to release it. So I'm really not going to say anything about the graphics other than I hate the little artificial film that they put over the graphics. I think it's supposed to make it feel more like a pirated snuff film, or supposed to give me some sort of like surreal environmental immersion, but it doesn't achieve that at all. All it makes me say is, why the fuck does this game look so goddamn ugly? And so I gave graphics a 5, and maybe I should have gone lower, but the bottom line is that low. There are things that are better than other PSP games. I mean, you know, I could think of a few PSP games that are just absolute crap for graphics. This at least has some decent moments. You know, while I do feel the character models are really blocky, the graphics don't deserve anything above a 5. So, Force, you want to give any thoughts on graphics?
You know, I would sure love to save my comments for graphics so I can give my little overall.
Okay, let's do that then. I'll talk about sound next. And sound is probably the one area where this game actually excels in. The voice acting isn't terrible, but it's not going to win any fucking awards at the end of the day for best voice acting either. It's also fairly minimal. But the sound in terms of the music, in terms of the various aspects that the game uses sound, it's well done. The problem is they don't bring anything new to the table, and it's all fairly plain. So I'm going to go ahead and give sound a 7. Now, gameplay and fun factor. This is really what it comes down to, guys. Gameplay. It's a stealth game. I still gave it a chance. I got to the 4th level before I just couldn't handle it anymore. Now, people often talked about the Manhunt AI, and they said, you know, the Manhunt AI was actually really good. But I just don't understand. I did not see any fucking artificial intelligence in this game at all. If artificial intelligence is basically a guy running the same pattern through a level, then we are definitely taking 8 steps backwards in the video game industry, because that's what it was. The levels presented to you, you know that there's an enemy on the screen, he's going to walk down the alley, he's going to look down that way, then he's going to walk back, then he's going to walk to the center, he's going to look around, and he's just going to repeat this pattern until I eventually fucking kill him. There is no fun in that for me at all.
That's AI of the past. Like,
no,
way in
the best
past.
part, Let me tell you, the best part is when you're trying to avoid them. In any black area on the screen, you can hide from them. You can be standing right next to them, but if you're in the shadow of the door right by you, they won't see anything.
See you.
That reminds me of Tenchu.
Unbelievable how bad you can cheese it.
Right. So it really it was bad enough that it was a stealth game. But I stomached through as much as I could, Force. The problem is that it just got fucking boring. And again, there is no AI. It's all pattern recognition. So if I failed one area, well, I already knew how the guys were going to walk around the level. So I was going to be able to get through it easier the second time. But that's not fun to me. Gameplay, I totally knocked the shit out of it. I give it a 4. But this is where we come down to the fun cycle. And I also relate this to the story. The story is crap. You start off, you don't know what's happening. You have an idea that it's a little bit about mind control and alternate perceptions and realities. But I feel like the story just led me into more and more questions. I felt like I was watching season 2 of Lost on repeat over and over again. And all I was getting was more questions, and nothing was ever answered for me. It wasn't until the 4th stage where I finally said, dude, I know this guy's name, and that's fucking all I know about this guy. Yeah, you sort of see his character develop a little bit, but it just seems like it's like, okay, let's make a safe house in a sex shop above a movie theater because that will be shocking, or that will be, surprising to someone. So it just almost seemed like developers had no ideas, so they just came up with some fucking ridiculous locales to have this stuff take place at, and then made the story around it. But ultimately, it didn't do anything for me. It wasn't like Call of Duty 4 where I was like, holy shit, what's going to happen to Soap in the next mission? I've got to play. It was like, I could care less about this dude.
It was painful.
I could care less about the fact that he just fucking escaped from an asylum. I could care less about the fact that he's got some buddy who I don't know who it is. I could care less about the fact that he throws up every time he kills someone. I just don't care about this guy. Fun factor for me, it got a 4. Absolute shit. Overall, this game got a 50%. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. And let's just throw up our skate sleeve. And here is for Force. This is Force, your overall score, which is by far the lowest we've ever seen on Epileptic Gaming. Please explain.
Is that a minus sign?
You have to know that I liked Manhunt 2. I played it all the way through, had a blast with it.
Really?
Was here on day 1 to buy Manhunt 2. All right? And I am that sadistic gamer that Rockstar made this game for. I'm that guy. I will go through a 5-minute stealth sequence to see a super gory dismemberment. That's just part of me that I like to indulge in every now and then.
Okay.
Let me tell you, what they have done with their filters has robbed the game of all enjoyment. It is painful. It is so blurry. The filters over it, you can't see one thing that's going on. And with the Wii, you're making the motions, but you can't see what the hell your guy is doing. The controls are unbelievable. This game would have kicked ass if they hadn't had their balls cut off.
Really?
The game is shit. It is absolute shit because you can't see anything. All the fun has been taken out of the game to me. When I start the game, all these people are running around screaming the F word left and right, and then I get into the action, I can't see any gore.
Yeah.
So all I have is a bunch of people running around screaming the F word, nothing else. It sucked all enjoyment out of it, and it could have been awesome.
So
I am so disappointed.
Let me ask you this, Force, then. Do you think that my low scores reflect the fact that first of all, what you just mentioned, I felt like I also was cheated. I was like, isn't this supposed to be the draw of the game? This is what I remember about Manhunt. I remember clearly putting the bag over some dude's head and seeing him trying to breathe and pass out and freak out. But it's almost like, it's almost like they gave a 3-year-old a red piece of paper and they're like, scribble on it. And that's what it will look like when you kill someone. Because honestly, you cannot tell what the fuck is happening in this game.
It becomes even worse in the Wii because you know how there's like different levels of a kill, depending on how long you can stalk them. All right, so one level, I just stab him. If I get all the way to level 3, I'm stabbing him 3 times. So I'm making all these motions and getting no payoff for it because you can't see what's going on. It's even worse. I wouldn't mind pushing triangle or square. But when I'm having to put all this physical effort into it and getting no payoff at all, it was
I want to tell you
horrible.
something, Force, okay? And I know that someone in Stickum has probably brought this up, but After I got the game, I had read on a PSP forum that there was a hacked ISO out that would take away the censoring from the game.
I've heard about that for the PSP.
I got it. I checked it out. I wanted to see if it would make any sort of effect on the gameplay. And to be totally honest with you, I think that they did some censoring beyond the filters because it still is not enjoyable to me at all. I still feel like I'm not seeing anything. It's still, even with the uncensored version, it's still got sort of the red squiggly lines. And I know you know what I'm talking about, Forrest. And I don't know.
I saw a video. I think Destructoid posted a video of all the uncut kills.
Right.
And it got me excited.
Really?
If we would have had uncut kills on the Wii, we'd be having a full-blown review, and you'd be hearing about how much I enjoyed that part.
It still didn't do it for me, guys. Maybe it was the fact that this was a stealth game, but this game did not do it for me. And if it's my opinion where you just don't like stealth games, or whether it's Force's obviously a guy that loves the franchise, but this game doesn't do the franchise justice, basically.
It was the reason why it's a negative 10% is it was actually painful for me to see how freaking neutered it was. It hurt. It hurt. I want my money back. It is negative 10%, guys. It was misery.
Yeah.
It was misery.
So, you know, guys, so Force, on that level, you would not recommend this to anyone. Is that correct?
No one. Not in this current state. If you can find a hack copy, give it a shot. Do not go anywhere near the Wii version. It is horrible.
Would you recommend just, if you see this game, just destroy it right away to save people
it would almost be worth going to jail to break the few of the copies.
That's what a negative 10 is, kids.
Carry it.
You know why he gives out 7s.
Yeah.
It was bad. I want my 2 hours of my life back. It was horrible.
Is that how long it took you to get through the game?
No, that's how long it took me to give up on the game.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I was like, maybe it won't happen the whole time. Maybe there'll be some violence that isn't involved with the actual kills. There's nothing. It's horrible. It's worthless.
It's pretty horrible, and it's pretty worthless. And with that being said,
I'm so sorry I had to say that, guys.
10 minutes with phones?
No one. Yeah. We'll open up the phone lines. Maybe got some questions about either of these games.